Good morning. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. The last time I recorded something was when Walking Wake was released, and this time we have a bigger event, which is the release of the second DLC of Scarlet and Violet. As you can see on your screen, we have an Uber's game. What we're going to be doing is that we are going to be going through my Uber's kickoff replays. So this is round 2. Round 1 I got an activity win, which normally doesn't happen, but you know, whatever. So basically it's a single elimination format with the best of 3. So you win 2, you win the series. And I'm against Darmanitan D. Luffy. On your screen, I'm Widow Underwood. So as you can see here, we have a large variation of teams. So obviously, I'm gonna be a little rusty at narrating this type of videos because not only have I not done it in like 2 years or so, the times that I've done it, it's been like once a year. So just bear with me, but trust me, it's worth it. Scarlet and Violet Ubers is really good, in my opinion. It has become my favorite Ubers metagame over time since Home was released, and with the DLC it became even better. So I think I gotta do it a service in uploading some videos at least. Yeah. So talking about the team preview. So we are both running a hyper offense. My opponent is running more of a dual bike hyper offense. I'm running more of a lead Glimora toxic spikes, just get hazards up, stop hazards from being set up on me. And so this is very early in the metagame. It's like 3 weeks in, so a lot of the teams are going to be kind of similar in terms of like the play styles and the team archetypes. I've done a lot of exploration in this tier. I used a lot of wild stuff that you're gonna be seeing in the videos, but this time around I was grinding like the different hyper offense builds, and I think my opponent just went with hyper offense because at the time it was deemed like the best archetype in the format. So my team is more of a lead Glimora with heavy duty boots, Deoxys attack. I know it's like a weird item to run on Deoxys, but I like it because I can just, if my opponent brings webs and in case like they cheese Glimora, which can happen with stuff like Trick and Steel Terra on Ribombi, they can set up webs and I'm in a very difficult position. But with heavy duty boots Deoxys, it kind of just rips through that, and yeah. I have an Arceus ground. It's Dragon Dance. Arceus got Dragon Dance since this generation, and access to Taunt. So it's a very good setup sweeper in hyper offensive teams. Arceus ground is hands down the best Arceus form in the DLC 2 format. Not only is it immune to extreme speed. I mean, not extreme speed, Electro Drift, but it's also like Earthquake hits a lot of stuff, and just rock round coverage is really good, and Taunt is just a really good move in general to have on Arceus because a lot of stuff relies on just status in it or just clicking whirlwind. So, but in my case, I think I have extreme speed on this Arceus, mostly because I hate it when stuff like Koraidon lived like an Earthquake after 1DD and I have Terrad, another Pokemon. So extreme speed helps me with that. I have a Rayquaza, another form of priority on my team. I actually don't remember what set this Rayquaza is. I don't remember if it's Dragon Dance or Swords Dance. I think just by team composition, it's most likely Swords Dance with extreme speed. And Trick Room and Necrozma Dust Main. It's one of the big Pokemon that got released in this DLC, and yeah, hyper offense is very common to run Trick Room, especially early in the meta. A lot of people are running Dragon Dance now, but Trick Room was always reliable because it was also a form of speed control against stuff like Agility Miraidon and Skill Shot Koraidon, which you're gonna be seeing a lot in these replays. And last but not least, the big bad boy Skill Shot Koraidon with Swords Dance. I always run Flame Charge. I don't like Flare Blitz at all, mostly because you get enough of a drawback with -1 defense on Scale Shot, in my opinion. And Flame Charge, not only does it mean that you don't have to rely on, that you cannot get the speed boost on the fairies, so you can get it with Flame Charge. You also avoid using Scale Shot to raise your speed, which in turn doesn't make you like more prone to be revenge killed by stuff like Extreme Killer Arceus and other Pokemon. So yeah, all right. So my opponent, very similar matchup. We're just gonna be heading straight into the battle. I'm not gonna lie, this was my first tournament game in a while, so you're gonna be seeing a lot of misplays in this one. But let's see how we do. So he's gonna be leading up with Deoxys. I lead up with Glimora. If I remember correctly, he goes for Taunt and I just go for Mud Shot. I go for Mud Shot first just so I can just kill Deoxys in... This is too fast, hold on. I didn't even test this shit, man. Alright, so this should be better. I put it in slow. Alright, so I want to give my Glimora because it's sashed, and there's no reason not to go into Necrozma here. So he just goes in turn into Arceus Ground as I just go for Swords Dance. I do have a weakness policy, so I'm a plus force for attack. And that Arceus leaves with like 9%. That's gonna be like a bulky as fuck Arceus. That does not leave unless it has like max HP and some defense investment. But here I make a series of misplays. So I was a little bit tilted by the Arceus living, and I didn't think about stuff, and I went straight to Rayquaza, and I didn't even extreme speed. I did have extreme speed, but I just didn't click it. So I'm just fucking up back to back. So he goes to the Crossman, goes for Photon Geyser, revenge kills me. I go to Arceus, set up a DD, if I remember correctly. As he goes into Eternatus, yeah, I do set up a DD, and I go for Earthquake that easily drops in one. As you can see, there is nothing, like there's not a lot he can do about this stuff. So I go for Terra Ground, Earthquake, knowing that in this steam structure that he has is probably not Choice Scarf, so I can just go for it, and I kill it in one. So here I make an incredibly bad play. Not this one. Okay, so he reveals the Terra Grass here. He goes for Agility. What I should have done here is just go straight to Glimora, and I do have extreme speed on this, and I have extreme speed on Deoxys. So the reason I didn't go for Glimora immediately was because I was scared of him going for something like Parabolic Charge and healing himself back up. But in this scenario, if he didn't have a grass move, if he had a grass move, he had to go for it here. So the best play regardless was to go Glimora, just so he breaks the sash. And if he does have something like Parabolic Charge, he would only heal like 1%. And the right move after, I think it would have been just go Deoxys and then go Arceus maybe. So yeah, not the best way of playing, because I'm gonna stay in like a bozo and take this fucking Solar Beam. I mean, I go for Extreme Speed first, and he just goes for Solar Beam. The reason why it was so important to keep this Arceus healthy is because now nothing on my team can not only cannot stop the Crossmouth from setting out Trick Room, nothing can really kill it in one. My Koraidon doesn't have Flare Blitz, so even if he had Flare Blitz, I don't think it even kills without Terra. So He just sets up Trick Room. I just let it die because there's nothing I can do at this point. I don't have enough turns to play around this Necrozma, so he's just gonna kill all of my Pokemon here. Yeah, I tried to go to extreme speed, but it doesn't do enough, and yeah, he just wins the game because my Deoxys is not Sash. If I was Sash Deoxys, I would have won that game, but I wasn't. So, but in reality, this game was lost because I just played bad. So, in my defense, it was like the first tournament game I had played in a while. So, yeah, nothing I can do about that right now. But at the time, I did feel like, damn, I did choke that pretty badly because the solar beam there was pretty obvious. Sun was up, and he had to go there to have a chance of winning. But I just simply did not make the best play. So my opponent deserved to win that. But now let's go to game 2. So as I told you before, I've been exploring this metagame to the fullest. I run a lot of stuff. I run shit that you wouldn't even imagine. So this time around, I decided to go with a really fat team. I tried to test Garganacl because a lot of people were on like the not Deoxys, Necrozma Dustmane and Hobo at the time on their balanced teams, and Garganacl just cuts through that because with Salt Cure and just general like the ability is perfect to switch into stuff like Hobo, Giratina, which people were using a lot at the time too. So, and Garganacl actually does have a pretty good it does have pretty good defenses for Ubers, because even if you run like physically defensive or specially defensive, it has the same special book as a Groudon, just so you can imagine that. So it's a good mon if you run it in the right structure. I've seen a lot of people use it in tournament and be successful with it. So my team is pretty fat. It focuses a lot on passive damage and hazard damage with Garganacl and Clodsire. I do have a lot of status on this team. I have Toxic on Clodsire, I have Thunder Wave on Giratina, and I have Sacred Fire on Ho. Ho is like the best Pokemon on balance. It's the best Pokemon you can run on balance. There's a lot of stuff that you can run with it. And with Terra, Ho is just taken to another level. So if you play this tier, you should try that out, this Pokemon for sure. I have a Nurse's Fairy just to go with the Ground Fairy combination that I have going on there. And I have a Heavy Duty Boots Miraidon as a breaker. It goes really well with this team. I don't have a Scarfer or a form of speed control, but I don't think I need it because my team composition allows me to just play very flexibly, I guess would be the word, against stuff like Zacian and Koraidon. So yeah, it's just a team that forces the opponent into very awkward position due to passive damage. So my Ursus Fairy set is a Calm Mind Scorching Sands set for Necrozma because a lot of people were running that a lot and switching it into Ursus Fairy at the time. And my Garganacl is Stealth Rock, Salt Cure, Recover, and Protect. Clodsire, the standard Toxic set with Spikes, Earthquake, Special Defensive for Miraidon. And Giratina, it's the standard Defox side with Hex, and I run Dragon Pulse. I don't run Draco Meteor. I think Draco Meteor is pretty bad on Giratina because you have to switch out every time you use it, and Giratina cannot feel forced to switch out with Hazards up a lot because it doesn't have recovery. So you want to keep your special attack as high as possible, in my opinion. On Hobo, I have a Terra Grass Hobo. It's a middle ground Terra for stuff like Kyogre and Miraidon because you do resist electric and your opponent still has to Draco Meteor to KO you. And with Kyogre, well, you resist Thunder and Surf and Origin Pulse. So it's a very good middle ground if you want to check those Pokemon. I don't think I need a lot of stuff for Zacian on this team. My Garganacl is Terra Water, so if I need to Terra something for Zacian, I can Terra that or Giratina, which is also Terra Steel. So my opponent is running a more of a balanced team as well with Clodsire, but he's running Ditto to counter Hyper Offense, and yeah, overall it's a pretty good. It looks pretty good in my opinion, and I think that structure is pretty solid. And yeah, we're just gonna go right with the show. Alright, so I lead up with Miraidon because it was the best lead possible against his team. I go straight to Garganacl knowing that he cannot do much against me. I decided to go to straight for Soul Cure just to see what he wants to switch into first against this Garganacl. And then I believe I go for Stealth Rock. Yeah, I go for Stealth Rock. Let me switch back into slow. Yes, he goes for Electro Drift. And he goes into Ho. I believe I go for... No, I should have gone for Toxic here. But yeah, I go for Spikes. And I go into my own Ho just to scout what set he is. Most Ho's at this point were still offensive. Mine is offensive. Mine is defensive though. So I wanted to find out what he was. He is Whirlwind, obviously. And he whirlwinds me out into Ho. I still don't go into Garganacl because he hasn't revealed like his whole set. Here he reveals Recover, which means he doesn't have Earthquake, so Garganacl is always a good switch into this Ho. Alright, so he goes into Miraidon predicting my Garganacl to come in, and I go for Protect. Since he took hazard damage, I thought he would be choiced on this team, maybe something like Specs, because Life Orb and stuff like that is not seen commonly with Draco Meteor. Well, just with Draco Meteor because you run Calm Mind. But what I mean to say that if the Miraidon takes hazard damage, it's probably gonna be a setup set or like a choice set. So I go for Protect just in case he was a choice set, and if he goes for Draco Meteor here, try and pivot into my Arceus Fairy to catch like the double Draco Meteor. But my opponent is very smart and he goes for Electro Drift right away. So now my Arceus Fairy cannot do much in this matchup. The most I can do with my Arceus Fairy is to keep it as dead fodder for later. Since Electro Drift was a very safe play for him, I go hard into Clodsire and he cannot kill me in one hit. So I go into it, I go hard Toxic in case he was something like Calm Mind. And he just goes into Ho-Oh. And here he just goes for Brave Bird, trying to get some damage on my Clodsire. So I believe even though my Arceus Fairy is like practically dead at this point, I think I'm doing really well in this matchup. I can just go for Recover on the Ho-Oh, and my Garganacl does have some special defense investment, so I know if I need to, and I can live an Electro Drift or a Draco Meteor. So alright, so I go to Ho-Oh knowing that he would switch out, knowing that he wouldn't stay in that much with Clodsire because he is Soul Cured and he doesn't need the Clodsire for my Miraidon. So I go into my Ho-Oh, he whirls me out into my Clodsire, which is pretty lucky, and I can set up the second layer of spikes. So hazards are racking up. He goes back into Miraidon. I don't know if I agree with that play. I think he didn't need to risk Miraidon. I guess my Ho was pretty obvious, but I don't know. The more damage you take with Miraidon, I think the easiest that he's going to lose. So I just sack my Arceus Fairy, then go to Clodsire, knowing that he would Draco Meteor, thinking that I would Toxic or Spikes. I just go for hard Recover, and I just go for Recover again just to keep my Clodsire healthy. Here I go for Giratina in case he goes for Trick Room. If he goes for Trick Room, I can just Thunder Wave and Terra Steel. He went for Swords Dance first, which is pretty insane. Um, I guess it's not pretty insane. Sword Dance was pretty free there. But he goes for the Terra Fire, and I miss Thunder Wave, and that's just not cool. I think if I missed again, if I didn't get some lucky pairs, I just would have won. I mean, I would have lost right there, which would have been crazy. But yeah. All right. So since I know he is Terra Fire, I know my Ho-Oh can leave a hit. So I just go for Ho-Oh and Whirlwind him out. This Necrozma, Trick Room Necrozma is normally like weakness policy, so he's not gonna be boots. He took hazard damage, so I think that's pretty obvious that he's not like something like heavy duty boots. He decides to sack his Miraidon, and did he? Yeah, he did sack his Miraidon because I will only him out into Arceus. And he goes to Ho-Oh. I believe I go for Electro Drift here. I think it's pretty free. Yeah, Electro Drift was pretty free here because if he went into Cloudfire, I can just taunt next turn on the recover. Since I haven't revealed my set, although taunt, I guess it's pretty obvious that I have taunt, but here he makes a good play. He goes into U-turn, to Ho-Oh into the U-turn as I go into my Garganacl. And now I can just Soul Cure again. If he goes to Cloudfire, that's fine. I can just play the long game because the Miraidon is gone, so I have a lot of leeway into just checking his stuff until everything on his team faints. So, and I have hazards up. Dito's gonna be taking hazard damage. Arceus is gonna be taking hazard damage. The only Pokemon that doesn't take hazard damage is Ho-Oh, and that's toxic. And I guess this Cloudfire, but yeah. So so he's still Soul Cure. I can just go into Ho-Oh again, knowing that he wouldn't toxic. And even if he toxic, I don't need this Ho-Oh that much. I can just whirlwind his whole team, and Miraidon can just clean the game. So he goes into Arceus, just desperately, as I just have to click whirlwind, not letting it set up, and I just win the game if I just keep doing that. So he goes into Ditto. No, I wouldn't him out into Ditto. God damn, this is such a long game. I haven't narrated a long game in some time. Sorry. So Garganacl is also pretty free here because if he just goes for Whirlwind, that's fine. I can just Toxic that the next turn. And if he just goes for Braver, then I can just stall it out and stuff. So that's gonna happen here. He's just gonna give me his Ditto at this point. And he then goes, I believe he then goes into either, I think he goes into Necrozma here. Yeah, he goes into Necrozma. So he takes spikes and stealth rock damage. That's gonna be doing a lot of damage. And now, well, he gets paralyzed, but I don't think that mattered that much at this point because regardless of what he did right there, the right move was to Whirlwind. Unless he went for Hard Swords Dance, I think he had a chance of winning there. But if he went for Swords Dance, then I just Whirlwind and just clean with Miraidon. So I think the game was won for me at that point. So the Arceus dies from hazard damage, and the Ho-Oh is just gonna be dying from both Toxic and Salt Cure. So that's gonna be, I'm gonna skip a couple of turns because that's just exactly what happens. I go for Salt Cure, there's nothing he can do there, and yeah, that's the game. So now we go to game 3. So on game 3, let me just set up the speed and set up the team preview because apparently I didn't do anything before recording this. So I'm running Deoxys S team with Shedtail. Shedtail, in my opinion, is like the best offense archetype. It has a lot of variations and is very easy to position. If you run Shedtail and you don't run into like some hard counter to offense, I think your odds are really good at winning. So, or your odds at winning are really good. So, my team basically tries to set up Earthworm as easy as possible with Deoxys and avoid stuff like screens from Grimsnarl. I do have a mental herb on my Deoxys and I have Terra Dark on it as well, just in case I run into Prankster and I really need to stop from its. I really need to stop it from setting up the screens. And my team is just pretty standard at this point. I have the double Dance Miraidon with agility and Terra Fairy and Calm Mind, DDR to the ground, Trick Room Necrozma, and Scale Shot Coridon. So I have a lot of firepower on this team, and I think just with Shed Tail, those 4 Pokemon are just the destructive capability for those 4 Pokemon are really good. So against screens, I think the matchup is pretty neutral. I think it's a little better for Shed Tail, just because the team composition of Shed Tail is it's easier for it to deal with screens if you have something like Necrozma and Earthworm on your team that can handle stuff like Calyrex and opposing Necrozma, and Arceus. So Earthworm has a lot of niche in this metagame, which is why I think it's the best. But we're gonna be seeing a lot of Earthworm later. Well, not a lot. Actually, yeah, a lot. Let's leave it at that. So, yeah, Earthworm is pretty good. I think it's the best offense archetype. And yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this matchup. I think it's better that you see it in practice how it plays out. So, I'm gonna be leading off with my Deoxys as he leads up with his Grimmsnarl, not Grimmsnarl. Hard Pokemon to pronounce. So he goes straight for Taunt, trying to stop my Taunt, but I do have the Mental Herb especially for this, and I do go for the Taunt. I go for Spikes here as he goes into Necrozma. I go for Taunt, thinking that he might just go for Trick Room or Swords Dance in this scenario, but he just goes straight for Earthquake. And as you can see here, Earthworm, man. Earthworm just goes, just fucking trolls in Necrozma. So I just go straight for Shed Tail, and he goes into Grimmsnarl. Since I don't have a Steel move on my Necrozma, I have to go into Miraidon, and I do have to play some mind games against this Grimmsnarl, and between Calm Mind and if he goes for Taunt, if he does have it, I do have to guess some Electro Drift and Calm Mind turns. But he goes for Light Screen, and then he goes for Spirit Break. So I don't think he has Taunt at this point, or if he didn't, he just didn't go for it, which is fine by him, I guess. He goes into Coridon after. I have to go straight for Terra Fairy just in case he goes for Scale Shot. As I go for Agility, I believe. Yep, that was the right play on my part, because if he went for Sword Dance, I steal speed after, and if he goes for Scale Shot, I stop it. So he goes for Flare Blitz. It's got a little bit less, under 50%, but as you can see here, he gets a min-max roll, I guess you can call it that. And my Miraidon dies, so I lose that exchange, but I can just go into the Axis, which at this point has a very good matchup against the rest of his team, because he can stop pretty much anything from setting up, and it forces him to go into Arceus to revenge kill the Deoxys. So he's just gonna be doing that. He goes for Extreme Speed, and I believe this turn I go for Coridon. Yeah. Do I go straight for Collision Course? Yeah, I go straight for Collision Course. No point on setting up Sword Dance in case he gets the roll with the Seal Scarf. That is a roll, I believe. So, or if it's something like Life Orb, there's no point on risking that. You'd rather just get the damage on Arceus and just revenge kill with something after. So I go for Collision Course a second time on his Necrozma, and as he goes for Trick Room, I believe I don't know if it's a good play on his part, because it enables Earthworm, because he's gonna be slower, and he's gonna be slower than my Earthworm. I mean, I'm gonna be slower than him on the Trick Room. So, and I know my Earthworm will be in range for a second Shed Tail, so I can just go to it on Necrozma and go into my own Necrozma and force a speed tie. And if I get the speed tie with my Necrozma, or I guess it's the reverse speed tie, I'm in a very good position with the sub up against this Kali and the Miraidon, so it doesn't really work out for him. If I do get a little bit lucky, I guess, winning the speed type, but I don't think it would have mattered that much. So yeah, I just go for Earthquake for that 2-hit KO. He goes for high horsepower, and he's gonna activate my second weakness. I mean my weakness policy, as I go for the second Earthquake, and he goes for me right on after. Since Terra has been used on both ends, I don't have anything to fear, unless he's something like Specs, which it means he has to go for Draco Meteor, and there's no point. There's nothing he can do against 2 Steel types and an Arceus Ground. So he goes for Parabolic Charge, which is pretty weak. People shouldn't run that anymore. They should just run Electro Drift. But yeah, Parabolic Charge isn't even gonna KO my Necrozma, and I'm gonna be winning the game with Earthquake. So that's gonna be the series. Again, a little rusty. I haven't narrated Pokemon in a while, so as we go, I'm probably gonna be getting a little bit better. But if not, I apologize. And yeah, I do want to say that Scarlet and Violet Ubers is really fun. I think it's my favorite. As I said before, I think it has a lot of variety and a lot of depth to it. So if you guys haven't tried it out, I encourage you to do so. A lot of the teams that you're going to be seeing in this series have been used by Blunder, or some of them have been used by Blunder, and just in general, there's a lot of variety and there's a lot of fun stuff you can use. So give it a try, and yeah, you can also hit me up on Smogon. My username is the same as always, Edgar. I have that username on Smogon. If you want to PM me your teams and stuff like that, I can rate them and just give you feedback overall. And yeah, see you guys in the next video. Bye.